Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, Little Shop Horrors, man. This, I gotta say, man, the copies I have of this, and this has been going on for a while. This is probably the most in-depth magazine you're ever gonna get on these horror films, man. Usually they'll have two films and they'll just go all in with them on every measure of production, pre-productions, behind the scenes photos, particularly all these, the promotional sheets, posters, interviews with actors if they're still living. And it's number 50, and apparently the editor, the editor is, I think, ending it with the next issue, and the next issue is gonna be one of my favorite films, one of the most underrated Hammer films, right? The Damned, right? Or These Are the Damned, and also Nosferatu. So, like I said, usually they do that method where they'll cover two films, and there'll be a lot of stuff in between, right? So apparently this, I don't know when this came out. Did I miss this for a while? This is coming out uh, pretty soon. By the end of the month, I guess. Right? I love this film. I went over that movie. So, no, Yvonne Romaine is still alive. Okay, interesting actress. But in terms of going on it, the guy goes, I mean, this is all the Monster Kid territory, right? The guy's kind of getting old, so he's going to call it quits. So, going out on a high note, right? And I got to say, yeah. Just well done, well done. Just to go through. I'm not gonna try to go with everything. I want you to get this. This is real, man. This guy really this is probably the most effort put into it. I mean, I'll put Scary Monsters above. This is kind of almost getting into like film journalism or something really in deep. I would definitely put it up there with the monster magazines, like Scary Monsters. I mean, this has been going on for. I mean, I think this has been going on since the '80s. I'm not sure, but there's the very underrated Roy Ashton. Did a lot of the makeup effects, for the Hammer films. Anyway, going through, just like, I don't want to go through the whole thing. You should check it out if you're a big horror head, man. Man, Midnight Marquee, these guys, they're still around. Still around, dude. Issue 82, man. Midnight Marquee. They're press. They make a lot of real small press books. They go. I mean, talk about if you want to go in depth as well. But like the Midnight Marquee, I still have. I think I have issue. What issue did I have? Was it 40 or something? This is cool. They have apparently the Blood on Satan's Claw novelization or the Devil's Skirt. So basically, the screenwriter actually wrote a novel adaptation of what originally was, remember, the Blood on Satan's Claw originally was an anthology, and then they just kind of put everything together. But look at it, I like how it looks like the old, right, a most sensational account of devilry that took roots in the village of Chapel Folding. So it's kind of, yeah, man, this is a film that's really getting its. I mean, forget the folk horror, trend. It's really being recognized for what it is. A very atmospheric film. And so there's, I don't go through all these. I don't want to go over too much with the finger, right? Actually, people, these actually in the '70s, in '75, they met him in a convention. Can you imagine meeting him in a convention? I mean, in the mid '70s in Manhattan, really cool. Yeah. So now, there's always more than just two films ahead. This guy here actually did a great job covering the relatively unknown Hammer films before they got big. Right? Remember Hammer had two big successes that shot them up. Of course, the Quatermass films, right? They did that deal with that guy Robert Lippert. The guy did a bunch of movies. They used to make fun of Mystery Science Theater, but I remember seeing a lot of them on television. But that was their first big success, and then the Curse of Frankenstein. But these are the films they made before, like in the '40s. And wisely, they adapted many popular teleplays. I mean, the Carreras were no dummies. They were going to adapt something that already had some kind of track record. But look at all these films, man. You never heard of them. Crime films, thrillers. Like this one's based on like their version of the Inner Sanctum, like the radio dramas. Eventually comedies. Right? Don't Panic Chops. Right? Look at the Hammer act films. Right? Very interesting. A lot of films they went over. Never even heard of any of them. So Now, of course, in this one, right, two films are covered in this. Right? Devil Rides Out. I've gone over this, and of course, Frankenstein, the Monster from Hell. Two. I mean, I would say two of the best Hammer films. I mean, come on, dude. Let's be honest, man. Even the least of the Hammer films is a friggin' usually a great film in and of itself. But The Devil Rides Out's always great. I mean, it's an adaptation, right? Dennis Wheatley. I'm not familiar with him. Apparently, everyone in England, like Rorschach, he remembers. I think his parents reading him. And you got the whole cast. Of course, this is one of the films where Christopher Lee plays a hero, albeit a dark-looking hero, who uses sorcery, to fight, the devil. It's just the whole production. I mean, the synopsis, they go over the whole production of it, which is really what you want to do. They show all the scripts, what do you call these things that of course, Hammer, the big thing with them is they needed international distribution. That's why they made the huge money. There's Dennis Wheatley. The other film they had was Lost Continent, one film I like. And who's the screenwriter? The guy who wrote everything, essentially. That was good. Amazing. So I think you can see Terrence Fisher, both films, Devil Rides Out and Frankenstein and Monster of Hell, directed by Terrence Fisher. Of course, the Monster from Hell, Frankenstein and Monster of Hell was his last film. So look at this cool. Look at this cool. Man, all these dudes. Yeah. And I remember the actress. What's her name? Oh, she was Australian and Italian. I always thought she was unconventionally beautiful. Nike, right? She's named after the winged goddess of victory. Nike Arigi, right? So she was the heroine in this who gets possessed as a tool of the evil, what's his Mokata? Yeah, that guy differing, good character actor. I remember as a kid until I think Channel 11. I think it was called something else. But man, the scene where they're basically like, all right, we're getting attacked. This guy's going all out, and they go in the circle. Don't step out of the circle, Stay in the circle, the freaking deep ass voice, the angel of death, the creepy black dude, the big giant spider comes after him. So what a great film. Remember they used this to cover Electric Wizard, Satanic Rites of Drugula. It's like it's sort of I don't know, like a horror film. It's like an action film because you have a protagonist who can fight the evil. So it's a little different. It's like Seven Golden Vampires, where it's like the horror when you have heroism fighting the monsters at their own game. I kind of like these things. Just like Captain Kronos is another one. And they just go. I mean, look how much text you get. It's almost it's worth the price. The amount of text that you got. What is this? Zurich. What is that? To the Devil a Daughter. I never saw the. So as you can see, I don't want to go over too much. I mean, you got all. I mean, just on and on. Remember when they all slept with their head like in this formation. You got the script, right? You got Matheson wrote it. So the little thing on differing, of course, he was a German, but left Germany and played Nazis, to get back at them. I still is a good actor, though. About that. Let's finish this up here. Like Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell. What I remember watching this on Channel 5, man. What a dark film, man. What a creepy. First off, the monster from hell, right? David Prowse, right? I mean, it's no secret. This terrified me. This costume terrified me. People say the costume was stupid. No, this there is David Prowse. Remember him? Darth Vader. The guy, the henchman in Clockwork Orange. But this was creepy, man. This was scary, dude. I love this. Yeah, look, Julie Edgy, Veronica Carlson, and Madeline Smith, who's the mute, mysterious woman in the asylum, right, where this takes place. And that's the whole thing about this film. This film, and even mention everybody, and I don't think it's a bit of like, I don't know what you call it, retconning. They all mention because this is the last Hammer Frankenstein film. This is after, of course, Peter's wife has died, and he's looking really, really thin. Obviously, very distraught. He never got over the woman he loved dying. Um, but in terms of this film, right, that it was set in an asylum, right? The sets make it very claustrophobic, and it's not like a nice white mental hospital. It's literally what they were back in the old days. It was like a prison, sadistic warders, and pseudoscience, and just like a lot of brutality, and very dark. And the whole thing is that, of course, this young guy who's trying to do experiments, they lock him up in there, and the doctor of the asylum, right? I guess the medical doctor, not the director. It's Frankenstein. He got sent there, and then he took over. Cause he has the freaking director under his, under his control, under his thumb through blackmail, and he's doing experiments on the patients. What a mad lad! What a great Byronic villain! And it's interesting when you see the Curse of Frankenstein. That's what he is. He's literally like a villain that you root for. Byronic, and of course in this film he's a much older man, and they even mentioned the whole idea is that it's very twisted, and it's just very brutally violent. I don't know. It's just in the production of it. They mentioned that people realized that they were making something that was Patrick Troughton, right? He was in that too. That they were making something that it seemed like an era was passing, and it was. This was the last Frankenstein film they made. Of course, there were plenty of Frankenstein films in the '70s, but this, man, the Monster from Hell, man. Oof. What a movie. Remember, in this film, with all the violence that this creature does, who in the end is sympathetic. It's kind of like Revenge of Frankenstein, if you know the storyline in that, was what sort of is related to this creature. The most violent act, the most brutal act in the film isn't done by him. If you remember, I'm not going to give it away. So, and it's very tragic too, how it goes down, but just really amazing film. The one thing they didn't mention in here though, and just to be a super nerd, right, is they don't mention the idea of that the miniatures, right? You don't, when you think of Hammer, you think of like the matte paintings. You don't really think of miniatures too much, but the creepy asylum, man, the miniature they use in that is really I love it. It's really effective. So they didn't really mention that in terms of the effects. So obviously the gore goes without saying, and of course the humor. There's always a humor in this. And look at the set designs. Look at the guy writing the things, drawing. Yeah, remember this the graveyard scene. So look at this. Oh, this is interesting. Just to round this out, which you don't really see. Statement of production cost. Hammer Productions Limited is confidential. All right, so. You got all the pounds here, sterling. Then you're seeing, okay, they came in on the budget. Wow, can you imagine having to figure here? Let's see, you got story and script. You got the production fees. You'll have above the line costs. You have below the line costs. Right? Hotel and living expenses, costumes and wigs, 955 bloody pounds. Social Security. Oh, they have Social Security over there. $1,961. Sets and models. Wow. Labor construction, £13,347. Interesting. Special effects, £2,252. Of course, Mr. Fisher. This is Terence Fisher's last film that he directed. And he was he had bad car accidents. He was older too. So there he is. Yeah, that was the last film he did. Great director, very underrated. Now, once again, the guy's values realized after he was gone, after he was dead, in the DVD era again. So anyway, I think one more issue of this is coming out, and then that's it for Little Shop of Horrors. But man, what a magazine, man! Good job, dude. Good job. Good job, Richard. Very good. Yeah, very good. Yep. There he is. Okay.